Hello everyone, welcome back to our maths lesson. So today we are going to continue our lesson, which is arithmetic. We're going to focus on the subtopic of decimal, significant figures, standard form, estimation, and also fraction. I know you already learned this topic during your lower secondary, so today we are just going to recap back. Okay, so let's get started. So the learning objective for today's lesson is that you should be able to recap back your arithmetic on decimal, significant figures, standard form, estimation, and also fraction. So these are the steps to success. The first one, you have to highlight the key information. The second one, you have to apply any relevant methods, for example, under decimals, fractions, estimations, and so on. The third one, solve the question. And lastly, double check your working and answer. The first subtopic is decimal. Decimals, number expressed in the scale stand. So this is an example of decimals. For decimal, it consists, we have place value after the decimal point. In this case, we have tenths, hundreds, thousands, and more. Okay, so the first example, express these four numbers to one decimal place, two decimal places, and three decimal places. So whenever you encounter the word express or correct to, you have to run off the number if possible. The first one, we have these numbers. Express to one decimal place, the answer is 1.4 because the decimal point is at 3. Since this 3 can be rounded off, then once you round off, it becomes 1.4. Okay, for two decimal places, it falls at 7. So you round it off, become 1.38. And the last one is that 1.380. Okay, it falls at 9. So the next three number here, I want you to express this number to one decimal, two, and also three decimal places. Okay, so the next example is that evaluate this following without the use of calculator. Okay, so how do we evaluate or the decimals numbers that involve operations such as additions, multiplication, subtraction, and divisions? Okay, so the first one, addition, let me just show it to you. So it's simply as 3 plus 1.6, we have 5.3. Okay, if you don't get the same answer, please let me know. Okay, for the next three here, I want you to evaluate on your own without the use of calculator. Okay, I want to see the working. So once you finish your decimals, go to the second subtopic, which is significant figures. For significant figures, there are three rules that you need to know. The first one is that all digits 1 through 9 are significant. For example, you can see here. The second rule, 0 is significant when it is between two non-zero digits. In this case, for example, we have 306. So this is three significant figure, and 0 is considered as significant because it is between 3 and 6. So we have 1, 2, and 3. So the third rule is that trailing zeros that are used to hold the 0 are significant. For example, we have this number 279 and 0. Okay, so this 0 considered as significant, so we count that as 1, 2, 3, 4, which is 4 significant figure. Okay, so these are the three rules for significant figures. So next, in your notebook, I want you to solve or answer these four. Express the following numbers correct to three significant figures. Let me show you how you do it first. So for example, we have this number. Correct to three significant figure, we have 56.8. We must count the number from the very first digit. So we have 1, 2, 3. So it must stop at 7. But you have to check whether this 7 can be round off or not. In this case, you can round off the 7 and become 56.8. Okay, so this 4 number, I want you to express this number and correct to three significant figures. So next, the third subtopic is standard form. Once you finish, you can move on to this topic. So standard form is a system of writing numbers in a way of expression numbers that are too large or too small. So for example, if the number is too large, okay, how do we express this into a standard form? Okay, for a number that is too large, sometimes in this case, this is a whole decimal point shown. Okay, if there is no decimal point here, always assume that decimal point is at the very end here. Okay, so we want to change to the standard form. We move to the left. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we stop here. Okay, so the answer will be 1.2 times 10 power of 4. Alright, so next, this is an example of a number that is too small. How do we express this into a standard form? Now, you see there's a decimal point. So, bring this decimal point to the first number that you saw, which is 1. So, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. So, next, the answer should be 1.2 times 10 power of negative 4. Okay, remember, if we move the decimal point to the right, then the power is negative. If you move it to the left, the power is positive. So next, this is an example of evaluate each of the following, giving your answer in standard form. Alright, so now do not use your calculator first. Okay, try to evaluate this number, this standard form. Okay, first we have calculate this one first. 2 times 10 power of 4, what is the number? And then 8.8 times 10 power of 6, what is the number? Once you get the numbers or the values, then you can add those two values and you get this answer. Alright, so for the second one here, try using calculator instead. Okay, so once you calculate, your answer should be this. If you cannot get these two answers, please let me know. Alright, and also always double check your working. So inside your notebook, I want you to complete these two examples, example A and also example B. Okay, so for example B, you can use your calculator, but I want to see the working. Alright, so let's move on to the fourth subtopic, which is estimation. So estimation is meaning that we estimate the value. Okay, so the first example, estimate the value of each of the following one significant figure. So when you saw or when you encountered this type of questions, you have to change each of the value or each of the numbers. In this case, we have 40.13 plus 26 point, there should be a decimal point here, 78. Okay, you change this to one significant figure, it becomes 40 plus 30 and the answer is 70. So 70 is the estimation of this value. Okay, so next for this B, we have these two values. Then when you correct to one significant figure, your answer is 0.5. Okay, so next for this example, inside your notebook, try to estimate the value of each of the following correct to one significant figure. So remember, you have to express each of values or numbers to one significant figure, then you can evaluate or calculate. Okay, so let's move on to our last subtopic, which is fractions. So fractions always involve a denominator and also numerator. Okay, so how do or multiply or divide a fraction? So let me show it to you. So in this case, we have half plus 1 out of 4. So how do we add this fraction? Okay, first we have to make the denominator equal. So in this case, since this the can say that we can times this to 2 and times this to 2. So you get 2 out of 4 plus 1 out of 4. Once the denominator is the same, then you can apply the operation. Then you get 1 is 3 out of 4. Okay? So for multiplication, in this case, cancel out number that you can cancel. Okay, so in this case we can cancel out 3 with 9, then you get 1 and 3. Okay, then we can cancel out 4 and 8 divided by 4 and 4, then you get 1 and 2, and then of 1 multiply with 2 out of 3, then the answer is 2 out of 3. Okay, so the next one is that division. So how you divide fractions. Okay, so in this case, first you have to change the division to multiplication. Okay, once you change division to multiplication, you have, instead of 2 out of 5, it becomes 5 out of 2. Okay, next you may cancel out if it's possible. In this case, we can 2. Be 5 out of 3, or in mixed number we have 1, 2 out of 3. So that is how we evaluate our fractions. Okay, so now inside your notebook, I want you to complete example 1, 2 and also example 3. Okay, so once you done your examples, all examples inside your notebook until fraction, I want you to send your or submit your work via WhatsApp. Okay, or you can upload your work through Google Drive. Alright, so thank you very much for listening to my lesson, my video. See you next lesson, everyone.